Hey, Read Through the Word. Today is October 10th, and today's lesson is called Sideshow. I know, just wait, you'll get it. You're like, Lisa, where do you come up with the names? Well, I try to make something different, but we are in John today. I told you the day was coming. We're going to be in John. And so remember what we talked about yesterday. We talked about the feeding of the 5,000. You need to remember that has just happened. It happened yesterday. And in our reading, it really did happen yesterday. So we're in John chapter 6. And it says, let's see, John 6. Specifically in verses 24 through 27. But we're going to back up to 22 just because I want to read this. I didn't put it in the lesson just because it takes up so much space. So here we go. It says the next day, day after, the crowd that had stayed on the far shore saw that the disciples had taken the only boat. And they realized Jesus had not gone with them. Several boats from Tiberias landed near the place where the Lord had blessed the bread and the people had eaten. So, when the crowd saw that neither Jesus nor his disciples were there, they got into the boats and they went across to Capernaum to look for him. And they found him on the other side of the lake and asked, Rabbi, when did you get here? Like, we've been watching. And Jesus replied, I tell you the truth, you want to be with me because I fed you, not because you understood the miraculous signs. But don't be so concerned about perishable things like food. Spend your energy seeking the eternal life that the Son of Man can give you. For God the Father has given me the seal of approval. Now, I want you to, as we look through the lesson, to continue in the text and see the conversations that continue. Because every bit of me, y'all know how this goes. I want to be sitting down discussing this with you. And my videos would be hours long. And so I can't do that because it would take forever to upload them in Google Drive. So what had happened was, so I want you to see this. Jesus had drawn a crowd the day before, and it had been a memorable experience. So you notice they're all like hanging out, watching Jesus's boat. Is he moved? Where's he gone? Where's he gone? We got to go see. So, because news had traveled. Like, he fed 5,000 men yesterday. And women and children. And there were leftovers. Y'all got to come and see. Because news travels. So, Jesus, and so then they're like, oh, okay, he must be over there. And so they follow him and they're like, Jesus, when did you get here? Because they figure out his disciples there, but they didn't see Jesus move because they've been watching. They want to go for the sideshow. They're like, yesterday he fed 5,000. I wonder what I'll do today. This should be some fun stuff. Let's go watch. So you see that a crowd draws a crowd. Have you ever been, drives me insane, driving down the street and traffic jam like crazy. Because there's a wreck. There's someone, not even a wreck. Someone pulled over to the side of the road. But people start looking. When people start looking, where people start looking. Have you ever been down at the beach? And like somebody points out into the water. And you're like, uh-oh, there's something down there. And so everybody starts gathering. Once you see a crowd, you're like, oh, what's going on? What's going on? So there had been crowds following Jesus the day before. He had fed them. And now there's more. Because a crowd brings a crowd. So there's more showing up. So you see that there are people there just because of the multitudes. Like multitudes are there and more will come. So there's people that are there just for the multitudes because of that. And then you see that some are there because they want to see the show. They want to see the show. Did you hear what he did yesterday? Let's see what he'll do today. Maybe he'll feed more people. Maybe today he'll raise people from the dead. Maybe today he'll heal someone. Let's go see what's going on, like he's a sideshow attraction. Let's go see, because there were people that did that. There were people that were there just because of the multitudes. There were people that were there just to see what the miracle of the day would be. They're following just to see that. They want to see that. They want to be entertained. Then there are some that are there because he fed us yesterday. If we show up today, we'll get more free food. Have you ever had an event with free food? Like, people come out of the woodwork for free food. People come out, not that they need it, they just hear free food. We want free food. So this is what had happened, is that, like, he fed people today. If we show up today, maybe we'll get fed too. So there were people that were there because of the multitudes. There are people that are there for miracles. And there are people that are there for the meat and the bread. Fish, and we didn't have to go fish for it. I'll take some of that. So there's people that show up for that. And Jesus rebukes them. That's what he says. Read. He said that. He said, I tell you the truth. You want to be with me because I fed you. You didn't understand the miraculous signs. You're not here for the right reasons. You're just here to see what I'll do today. And then the conversation continues through the rest of John chapter 6. And then he rebukes them because there are many who are following. Thousands. But few are there for the right reasons. And then when he calls them out on it, it says, synagogue, Capernaum, the bread. Hold on. It says later in there that, hold on, let me get here. In John chapter 6, in verse 66, in our reading today, it says, so after all these conversations and things that are going on, it says, at this point, many of his disciples turned away and deserted him. Now, this is not the 12, but Jesus had lots of people that followed him. That's what we're seeing. You had, typically, he had thousands that would follow. He had a group of about 70 that would continue with him places, and then we'll have 12 that will be called the apostles later, and then he had the 3 that were really close to him, Peter, James, and John. But what you see here is a lot of those that were there for the multitudes, that were there for the miracles, that were there for the meals. They all walk away. So many will follow, but few will stay. And then he has asked his disciples, those 12, at this point, and then Jesus turns to the 12, and he says, are you going to leave? And Simon Peter answered, Lord, to whom would we go? You have the words that give eternal life. We believe and we know you are the Holy One of God. So Jesus asked his disciples, and then he goes on and tells them, one of you is not a true disciple. He's talking of Judas, and that's what the text says. But he says, are you going to leave too? And they will stay. They will stay because Jesus has the words of life. That's why they stay. Where else would they go? What else would they do? Jesus has the words of life. I think it's a real thing. Well, Paul tells us to check ourselves, not to check other people, to check ourselves, to see. He says work out your own salvation, but he means check yourself. See if you are saved. See if, do we claim to follow Jesus, because everybody else is. The multitudes are. Our friends all do this. Now this is a thing that we need to look at ourselves, to help our children look at. I mean, do they just go to church because all their friends are going there? You know, youth group's the cool thing to do. Or, you know, are they following just because of the other people? Are they following because of what they can get from God? You know, there's this whole prosperity gospel out there. If you do this for God, He's going to make everything in your life perfect. It's not the true gospel. But are we following Jesus for that? Do we want the miracles in the meat? Or are we following because He's our master? The disciples, His true disciples, were following Him because He was a master. He was their master. He had the words of life. That's why we follow Him daily. That's why we're in the Word daily. He has the words of life. Where else would we go? We'll see you next time on Read Through the Word.